And now, Deborah Kobylt live.
Hi, everybody. So glad to have you join us today on Deborah Kobylt Live. With me is a very dear friend of mine. Her name is Ellen Shane. She created the program, which is called C. Where do my glasses go? The C program, which is, you'll tell us about that, Successful Educational Achievement. Also, you're the founder, along with your family, of the Emily Shane Foundation. And you just wrote this amazing book, Emily's Gift, the true story of Sherlock and Jackson. Sherlock and Jackson are their two dogs. I think one of them is right near you sleeping, and I'm going to have you wrestle them up and wake them up a little bit, right? So thanks so much for joining us, Ellen.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about you, about the Emily Shane Foundation and C. Let's start with that.
Okay. Well, I'm a mom, 3 kids. And
3 beautiful daughters. Yeah.
One of my daughters, our youngest daughter, actually really struggled in school. It was basically a learning difference is what you would call it. It was a processing issue. And she fell in that gray area where she didn't qualify or need special education. And yet she had trouble in the mainstream. She was tragically murdered in April of 2010. And that event changed my life, that of our family, forever. And I wanted to do something to help others in her memory. And it was the one thing that came to me. How many kids struggle in school and kind of don't fit the mold, like Emily, perfectly capable, whatever the reason is. These are kids who need one-on-one intensive help. And when I went to her school and said, what do you do for kids like Emily who can't afford outside support, outside help, what they really need? There was nothing. And that's when I knew what I had to do. And that's how the C program came about. Filling a real gap or void in the educational system and helping kids who fall what I call outside the box to get on a path to success in school. And why is that important? For their futures, for their lives, for whatever they're going to do.
It is an outstanding program, I have to tell you. And what's amazing about you, your husband, Michelle, your family, is after Emily was murdered, she was killed on the PCH by a murderous guy, a guy on a rampage to do damage, to hurt someone, to kill someone.
He was enraged, basically.
He was enraged. And your husband, who was on his way to pick her up, after that horrifying tragedy, to this day, I can still barely even think about it, because I can't imagine. It's too difficult for me to even imagine being in that position, right? He came home, she was gone. And what did he say? He said, we have to do something in her name as a family.
Yeah.
You immediately and that's almost like, that's how you survived, honestly, Ellen, by keeping her alive, keeping her memory alive. I'd also like to point out that your office is in her room, and there's all these little clues that you get sometimes that Emily is still there. It's really miraculous. The entire situation, how you processed and handled such a tragedy to then help others who struggled like she did, is unbelievable. So thank you for that.
Thank
and
you.
You know that has an impact on me, what you've done. I think about you all the time for this. So you formed the C program. How many students? It's hard to do, right? It requires getting together with schools and tutors. So tell us all about that.
I didn't, honestly, initially it was a grief response. So this wasn't a plan, the business and strategic plan. It was something that grew organically. I was just very driven, and I made things happen. I figured things out. I had lots of roadblocks, stumbles, but when you are determined in something, you find a way. We started with 3 kids in the spring of 2012, and now we've helped close to 800. I think we're like at 750 something across LA. So we started right here in Malibu, but now we have sites literally all over the city. And really what's preventing us from serving way more kids, because I believe every school just about has children who fit this profile, is funding, like every other nonprofit. You know, it's important to find people who are educationally focused in terms of their philanthropy, or where they feel they want to give their support.
Mm-hmm. So talk to me, you're a student and you're struggling. Does the school get in touch with you, or do you partner with certain schools? How do you do that?
Yes, we have certain schools that we work with,
Mm-hmm.
and typically it's either the administration and often the school counselors who are involved. I don't do any of the financial vetting. Usually
Mm-hmm.
it's based on children who are on subsidized meal plans, and
Mm-hmm.
they profile kids who are basically risking failure, truly struggling, and they know they have no recourse. And what we do, where we come in, is once they give us a list of students, is we match them up with vetted and trained, mostly university students, who have to go through an application process. And so when these people are hired, they're generally people who are very passionate about this. Some of them have tutored previously, but they obviously have a social conscience in wanting to do this work. And it's very rewarding and meaningful for them, because they are helping a younger student who otherwise would never have this support. So that's kind of how it works. And because we grew organically, we're at different sites. We're in South LA, and then we're in Pico Rivera, and we're in Westchester, and then we have Thousand Oaks. So it kind of grew organically through circumstance. And so that's how the sites are determined.
And you are sort of it, right? The buck stops with you. You've got your hands in all of it, which is pretty incredible, Ellen, which is why fundraising is everything. Let's talk about the book.
Okay.
It's so charming and darling. Talk to me about Sherlock and Jackson. I love the story of how you ended up with Sherlock and Jackson. Can I just tell a little bit of a spoiler alert to those who are going to pick up our book? Your husband in here. The illustration was spectacular, and I know your husband. I know he has some allergies. And when I looked down at the photo, I just couldn't stop laughing. Even last night, I said, this is him. It's such a wonderful book modeled after your family, right? And these two beautiful dogs, and you still have them, were because your beautiful daughter, Emily, was just itching for a dog, right? Tell me what happened. So then you went to go look at these dogs after many no's, right?
Yes. And so the story is one of encouraging persistence when you have a dream and you want something, amongst other positive themes. But the truth is, we never had pets. And don't forget, Emily has two older sisters who also really wanted a dog and other animals in the house. But my husband is highly, highly allergic to just about everything and anything you might want to name. It's easier to say what he tolerates than what he's allergic to. So having a dog was impossible. And what happened, which is what the storyline, because it's actually, the events in the book are exactly what happened in real life. I felt it was very important to follow truth. But as you know from having read the story, is she presented me on her phone from school, which she wasn't supposed to be using at school, a picture of this little 7-week-old puppy. And that was, I don't adorable. Know why. I still don't know why. I looked at that picture and I said, we have to go look at it. And I won't give the story away, but I do want your audience to know that what was really interesting is I didn't have designs on writing a book. The entire thing came to me in a very vivid dream. I literally saw the book. I saw the cover. I saw, illustrations. I didn't have the name of the illustrators at the time, but I saw it by Ellen Shane, and I turned the pages. And when I finished and got to the end, I woke up immediately. And I remember thinking, it was really like a message.
It was a message, Ellen. We know that. It was a message. I mean, you don't just randomly dream about a book like that. It came to you in your sleep. And we all know it's very likely that someone put it there. It's like, hello, Mom, those two dogs, So, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I do love the message. Can I say it, or am I going to spoil it? I mean,
it's up to you. I mean, it's a children's book, so people listening may want to get it for their children. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it to you to reveal how much you want to.
Let's just say it's a very positive message, right? These two dogs and the entire journey to getting these dogs and the want of these dogs just has a really powerful spiritual message behind it. It's a charming book. And like I said, beautifully illustrated from what I understand by one of your friends in Canada. It's just fantastic. But you went with Emily to look for the dog that she texted you, and you came back with two, right? Because, and hence these two little adorable dogs. Jackson, is one of them there? Can you hold them up? I hate waking them up.
I'll go get him. 1 second. He's right here.
Yeah. Oh, he's right there.
Come here, Deborah.
Let's say hi to Deborah.
Here's Jackson.
Oh, how cute. Hi, Jackson.
Face.
And Jackson was more Emily's dog, right?
Yes, he was
Jackson
Emily's dog.
Yeah, and Jackson would stay in Emily's room. He still stays in Emily's room during the day, right, when you're there working. I think that's really amazing. Jackson is so cute. Hi, Jackson. They're adorable.
He hears his name.
Oh, wait, let me do that again. Jackson.
He's 11 years old now.
Oh, they're adorable. So you wrote the book. You're busy as heck because also next week, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing next week, because as we know, it costs a lot of money. I mean, this doesn't happen for nothing. These tutors need to be paid. You know, it's an entire process, as you said. And how long is a tutor with a student? Is it throughout the year? Is it a few weeks? Right. Tell us.
We aim for them to be paired throughout the school year. There are times when, due to scheduling changes with spring semester, which is actually going to happen soon, that we have to make changes. But we really aim to keep the same student mentor pairs throughout the school year, if at all possible.
Right.
And
but go ahead.
No, I was going to say they typically work for 1 hour twice a week. And really what drives the success of the program is the accountability. That the student knows they're going to be meeting with that person and they're going to be checking their work and their grades and their assignments. And so it's a big motivator to get them to do their work and get on it. And, you know, what I emphasize to the kids is that whether or not they like the subject, I try to make them see the bigger picture of how important it is to be successful at school and to finish middle school and high school. What I wanted to touch on when you were saying with the event is that due to the pandemic, as you know, we typically have a fundraiser in the spring that had to be canceled.
Beautiful. You know, you have a fundraiser and you also do a butterfly event and it's in the fall and, you know, because Emily loved her butterflies. So, and everything, as we all know, is shut down. So go ahead, huh?
Yes. Our symbol is actually a butterfly and it represents transformation. Yeah. So I could no longer keep, the program manager was helping me run this program, and at all these sites, you know, up to 13 at one time. It's impossible for one person, while I am now doing everything solo with help, of course, from some hired students and work study students and interns. But I really need a full-time person to help me operate. At least one person, could actually use more than one. So we are managing. I've always learned to make do, but it would be great if we could get some funding to help with getting this program running as effectively as possible.
Tell people how they can go. So they can find it, right? It's an e-event. They can find it on the Emily Shane Foundation website, of course, .org, but also on Facebook, right? If they look it up.
Right, there's an event page on Facebook. And it's emilyshane.org. There's a splash page, Emily Shane, just how it sounds, EMILYSHANE.org. And we have some amazing talent. Can we
reveal it? Yeah, because I know, like, it was just sort of announced a little yesterday. I mean, it's a big deal, right? Especially people who might not ordinarily have sort of a face-to-face, if you will, virtually with these people. Go ahead, please.
Well, our big celebrity guest appearance is John Stamos. I'm really excited about that. And then
you're going to get all the moms for that. Okay. I mean, we all grew up watching John Stamos. He's adorable.
Yes. He's very handsome. And then there's Lisa Loeb, who's an amazing Grammy Award-winning singer who's going to perform. Les Ziegler's an incredible jazz musician. We have a magic show that's so engaging and it's going to be fun. I mean, we really have something. It's for the whole family. And just for your audience to know, it's webinar style, which I didn't know what that meant, but it means that you will not see anyone else watching the presentation, so you could be in your pajamas or having a glass of wine or whatever you're doing while it's playing. It is exactly 1 week today on December 9th. It starts at 6:30 p.m. and it goes for about 45 or 50 minutes or so.
Right. And we could buy tickets, which are crazy reasonable. And it's just a fun time.
$50 per link.
You know, you guys, and I'm wanting people to know, have such a great energy. So even though it's virtual, this is going to be fun. You've got the magic. You've got John Stamos. There you go, right there. You've got the beautiful singer. She's incredible. And you've got you guys. And there's so much energy. Will any of the students be speaking? Because I have to tell you, they will. Okay, you're nodding your head. Because that is compelling. When they say, I was getting an F. I was flunking. Nobody was listening. And I've brought my grades up to this. And they're so inspired. They want to go to college now and continue learning. That's what you do for these kids. I mean, that's really something.
I think one of the best things about this program, there's a reason why I choose university students. They're ideal role models for these kids, to see that there is potential to do whatever their dream may be in their life. Also, I do understand not everybody's going to go to a university. That's okay. But you do need to finish middle school and high school. There are other paths. There's trade schools. There's art schools. There's apprenticeships. There's all kinds of things that people can do. But I still maintain you must finish middle school and high school. Your future will have way more opportunities if you do.
Plus, and not to mention one's self-esteem, that they did it. They did it. They accomplished the learning and they did it. It's a phenomenal program. It's phenomenal.
I also want your audience to know something. Right now, because of virtual learning and the pandemic, these kids who were struggling before are already struggling. I am sure your audience has seen the media article after article about kids who are doing well, having a tough time. These are kids who are living in often less than ideal circumstances. Many of them won't even put their cameras on during their sessions because there's 8 other people in the room. They're going through a tough time. It's been really hard for many of them. What we found when we started up this school year is many of them had not even attended class and or not submitted any of their required work. So the program is helping them, has got them on track, motivated again, re-engaged in their schooling. It's serving a tremendous need right now, particularly.
Ellen, you've gone through so much tragedy. And I know that you also speak about it, which you're a great speaker for anyone out there looking to have someone talk at an event. But how would you advise someone else who's listening to this, who's gone through a terrible tragedy? What would you say to them, how they can get through it too? Because you're a true role model to getting through something like this.
I'm sure there are people listening. I'm not the only one who's lost a child or a loved one, and perhaps in an unexpected or untimely way. Lots of people are dealing with COVID right now. They may have lost someone to that. Here's what I would say. Whoever's listening and is feeling that way, you are here. You are here for a reason. And think about your loved one who you lost. Do you think that person would want you to then give up, be depressed, go inward, and not live? Or would they want you to find your purpose and meaning and go on, perhaps in their memory? I guarantee you the answer would be that they would want them to live. So if anything, the message is, wow, you're still here, embrace it. And honor that person who you love and lost by living your life to the fullest.
Beautiful, Ellen. And that is exactly how you and your husband and family live. Beautiful people doing incredible work. Please pick up the book, Emily's Gift. I mean, if seeing Jackson didn't excite you right there, little Jackson, who was kind of sleepy, right? He was a little bit sleepy. He was like, whoa, oh, he's right there. Oh, hi, Jackson.
He's like, let me lie down.
He's like, please, I want a nap. This is my nap time. It was so cute. But, you know, you had to prop him up for the interview. So please pick up the book. It's beautiful. And look up the Emily Shane Foundation on all platforms. You'll find it. And it's .org and the C program. But get your tickets for next week. It's reasonable. It's $50. and it's an hour's worth of entertainment, which is kind of fun. I know we can all use it, and you're doing some great work for kids who really need it, especially now, because this online learning thing is a real struggle, and particularly for kids who are already struggling. So, Ellen, thank you so much. Anything you'd like to add to our interview that maybe we didn't cover?
You're terrific. I think you covered it all. I would just really encourage people listening to attend our event. It's going to be so much fun. It'll be a nice, entertaining period of time for your evening.
Yeah, we'll be pushing it out. We really will. So, Ellen, I love you. I love your family and little Jackson and Sherlock. And please, everybody, join us next week. I'm going to be reminding all of you. So this is not the last that you'll be hearing from me. So thank you, everybody, for joining me on Deborah Kobylt Live. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. We post all these little promos on Instagram. And then, of course, on our audio podcast, we're on Amazon, iHeart, Apple. I mean, honestly, if you just put in my name, you'll find our show. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ellen Shane of the Emily Shane Foundation and the C Program. And we'll see you next week, next Wednesday night. And we'll see all of you later. Thanks for joining us.